right. Let's see how this works. Well, I'm here. It's a Friday night. Somebody's here. Trying to test this rig out. All right. How is the microphone? How we all doing? I can't tell who's here. Or can I? Bear with me, folks. This is a test, and I'm trying to figure out how it's all going. So, if anyone feels like writing something in the comments, it would be a nice test for me to see if I can see those. Anyway, you are in my studio. In Ohio. All right. Once again, this is kind of a test, first trial, but I figured I'd kick the tires tonight and see what is what. Anybody have anything to say or any whatnot? I am a toy designer. Used to work for the big companies. Now I kind of do smaller stuff. Mostly I talk to people about Transformers and whatnot. If you're familiar with the Toy Armada, I talk about a lot of other things, but Transformers comes up more than most. Bummed out to hear about Kevin Conroy today, voice of the animated Batman. I made a lot of Batman animated products as well. Do not think I ever met him, but certainly enjoyed those shows. So, respect to him, no doubt. Interesting. Whoa. All right, well, there is a live chat going on that I somehow can't read. But I can't echo myself. There we go. All right, so this is why we do the tests, I suppose. So people are writing, but for whatever reason, I can't see it. At least not on this. Which seems odd, doesn't it? Thanks for kicking the tires with me, folks. Everybody's got a lot to do on Friday night to be sitting here watching me prattle on. All right. Huh. All right. Yeah, I got the chat on my phone, but I don't have it on my actual YouTube live whatnot. That is interesting. There it is. All right. It was just a matter of time. Hey, well, was Black Panther any good? All right, Ninjatron, Michael, how you doing? Man, I got the whole crew. Hey, everybody. Hey, Mark. Greetings from Brazil. Boy, is anybody excited about? That's cool. Namor looks cool. So yeah, we're in my basement with my collection of stuff. Yeah. So this is where I will probably do my live chats. I don't necessarily have anywhere else but at my desk here. So I realize I need another light on this side of me. I'm a good single light source prompt. There we go. I assume everybody can hear me fine. All right. Well, it's shocking that it's doing well because I live about 3 blocks from the Professional Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, and they have a giant high school football game going on right now, which I assume has thousands of people on cellular devices. But it seems like it's working fine. I am going to try to stream. Thank you, Princeton Phalanx. I am going to try to stream less about the stuff that we do in the long forms about my toy career, and maybe more deep dive more into the toy processes and the market conditions at different times. Kind of bring that professional lens that way. But I'm up for anything. I usually have Friday nights free. I don't know if that's a good night or a bad night, but it's a night I usually have off. So I figured I'd start tonight. Maybe try to do an hour and see how that goes. See if anybody showed up or was interested, and see how it goes. Yeah. You know, I have not gotten any of the recent Transformer figures, although I had Override or Nitro Convoy in my hands the other day, and I really considered it, and it just I was grocery shopping, not toy shopping, so I did not pick that up that day, although I don't know if I'll get another chance. But I will like to get them, and at some point I might do a session where I talk about the things that are unique design elements that I put in that they retained on those other ones, because I like everything they're going to do, no doubt. But might be fun to compare and contrast what I think they improved or might have missed from the originals. All in good fun, of course. No slagging off on them. We got a question from Michael. Your thoughts on the HasLab Desaurus? I like it. I probably agree with Protoman. It's probably too pricey for me, and probably also a little too literal for me. It's very what I've put in the bucket of Japanese style transforming robots, and that just has a very Japanese upright feel in the robot mode or the beast mode there. So I don't know. I don't need it as much as I love it. I'm still upset I don't have Victory Saber and stuff, but I'm glad they do it. I'm cool that they're doing those Japanese characters. That's fun. That was something I couldn't really tap into often. We tried here and there, but it does seem a little pricey. What are the questions? I miss anything here? Now I see what Daniel goes through. Yeah, Wing Saber was the one I really enjoyed. And then in Universe, we did King Atlas, Die Atlas, which I thought was fun. That was a funny homage. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So we tried here and there, but that stuff wasn't very well known for us to be able to point reference to it. So we didn't use it a lot in my day. But in that collector market, it's a great opportunity to do something that'll never really make it back into mainline and has its own pedigree and deserves its own status. So it's cool that they're doing them. And when you compare them to third-party things, they're great. So maybe they are worth it that way. I don't know. That's Daniel's thing. I usually, when I think of costs, I think of what goes into it, and is that a good value overall? I don't, and I just know that things fluctuate on the price of oil and what have you. So, but if it ends up feeling like it's substantially higher than other things around it, yeah, you feel like you're got to question that price. Yeah, the 2005 Optimus Prime. Oh, the Cybertron Optimus Prime. Yeah, that's still a great one. Great silhouette. I always talk about silhouettes, and that one has a fantastic silhouette, if that's the one we're talking about, with his wings and big feet and everything. Does the age of a mold affect how much you can modify that mold? Absolutely. Depending on the era that the mold was originally made, it is going to be made of a different, potentially different levels of steel, and the quality of steel. And then sometimes that steel can rust or pock and needs to be cleaned up, and that'll affect how much your vintage toy is going to look like a vintage toy. Whereas some more modern tools they're smaller, they can be maintained differently, they're cut differently. So yeah, those older tools have a lot of problems with rusting, and just they were larger back then, and the setups in factories now are for more compact tools, more squares than long rectangles. Is kind of how the molds are now. They're more like cubes size molds instead of these kind of long slab molds that don't necessarily need forklifts and stuff to move the tools around. So yeah, Um, so the age of the tools also are gonna, depending on how much they were run, of course, whether or not they got refurbished when they got put in storage, or when they come out of storage, they're going to be dirty, potentially rusty, and need also refurbishment so that they everything lines up correctly and you don't get any flashing. Um, Flashing is the best way to describe flashing is as you use a mold a lot, the edges will get knocked off and a little plastic will leak between the two mold halves, and you see that most evident on Green Army Men. On the edge of the Green Army Men, that little thin plate is piece of plastic squeezing between the two molds. Um, so that's called flash, and that's what that means. Your mold has been breaking down. Green Army Men molds, they've been used to death forever, right? So they're going to have that. Um, so I hope that answered that question. Favorite insect? Why is kickback? Yeah, it is kickback. It's always going to be kickback. My favorite design I've worked on, this answers a lot over the years, depending on the kind of the context. Um, I really enjoy the villains that I got to work on. So Armada Megatron comes up a lot. I like the Energons or Cybertron Scorponok. I like Armada Starscream. I like Vector Prime. I even like the first Hot Shot in its own ways. But so it gets harder and harder for me to, because then if you ask me what my favorite toy I designed is, or the coolest toy to design, I'd say 20th Anniversary Optimus. But that hardly needed much creative visualization design input. It was more technical, decisions about what materials we're going to use and scale, not where should the windows be or not, or the angles of the antenna or whatnot. So, yeah, that'd probably be one way I look at it. Hey, Rick, how's it going? I do a lot of talking. Yes, Ninjatron. That is a sweet as Wrath of Khan laser disc. I don't know. Is that what CED is? But that is a old school video disc. Yeah, it's really. I just got it for that sweet art on the front. Do I favor vintage toy designs or modern toy designs? Well, I'm going to talk a lot about this, I think, in live and just as we go on with the arc of the career. But I realize that I like action toys, spring-loaded toys that do things. Different interpretations of costumes and armor and weapons and things, and some more that learning I got from Batman, where you can take the raw idea and really blow it out and take that as permission to go further, or to use it as a stepping stone to take two more steps down the logic trail to give you permission to do, Jungle Batman and Rocket Racer Batman and whatever. So I probably like the era of the 80s, 90s, I guess into the 2000s, even what we did with Armada. More so than just what's now. It's just not as fun for me, I would think, or a designer where everything is very replica. What was in the film, we're going to make in plastic. It might shoot a Nerf thing, it might shoot a disc, it might not shoot anything, it might light up, but it is what it is. What it is. Versus getting to create that stuff as a designer from scratch. And that's just, we're very literal now as a culture. There's not as much imagination being taught or used. So replica is king. So, and that's just not as much fun. Um, but that that's my kind of 2 cents on old school and new school. Um, yeah, I can slide over there and get that sweet piece of ancient technology behind all my vinyls. There we go. Look at that. That sweet art. Another thing you're going to get from me is an appreciation of all the ephemera around these franchises. I love this stuff. These marketing photos. Look at that. Ricardo Montalban. Come on. And I don't know who did this art. It looks like it could have been. I don't even want to guess. But look at that guy. Sweet. Just sweet. Anyway. Yeah, my office is full of that kind of stuff. Full of that kind of stuff. Just goofy stuff that sits next to me. Hello, how are you doing? I had a past career as a ventriloquist. You're going to learn that too. The funny thing is I don't have a player for that disc. I bought it literally just for the art and to hang on the wall like that. I got my Gorf arcade there and whatnot. I got a lot of weird stuff, as we all do. My stuff's just not in boxes, like so many of my Transformer friends that I've made over the years. You guys live with a lot of boxes. That's a good question. Do I still keep in touch? I do keep in touch with everybody on a big arc kind of basis. We all pop in or congratulate each other on different life achievements, but I don't talk to too many people too much because if they're still at Hasbro, it's difficult to have a conversation that doesn't get into tricky spaces, so you avoid it. I probably talked to the guys that I did artwork, talked to Marcelo and Ken Christensen, Emiliano. I talk to them a lot. I even see them at conventions and stuff when we hang out. So I probably see them more than my colleagues. What do we got here? Miss Mattel did a large run of there. I don't know enough about the Shogun Warriors they're doing to know, but when we're talking collector numbers, it seems like 250 up to 400 is going to be, and I got a cat too. Is going to be the sweet spot for the type of volume that they're likely going to get, and the bells and whistles that they have to put into all that stuff. Yeah. A good Shogun Warrior at a collector price with some nice bells and whistles, stickers and box, and yeah, I think you're gonna, with the number that probably gonna be able to logically get, yeah, you're gonna talk to 200, 250, 300 easy. Believe it or not, I mean that's where we are. Yeah, cheesier, if I'm saying that right. It is interesting to see what stuff goes for. Um, we're so much on the front end that it's tough to really care about that stuff on the back end. But as the years go on, to see something that I know was originally was whatever it was to see go for these prices today. Yeah, it's pretty wild, but that also means I've been around a long time, that some of the stuff has lingered and had a chance to disappear and get beat up and broken in toy boxes and whatnot. So now that stuff is maybe worth a little bit more. But that's the way it is. They did. I got to look into the Shogun Warrior business now, as if I needed another thing to collect, right? Yeah, no, that is true, because you can tab that thing open and there's like a big blue disc record in there, which I've always been afraid to scratch. Ninjatron, we are fine connoisseurs of old equipment. Perhaps I can interest you in this fine piece of machinery. Record all our good conversations and upcoming records. I did buy the, I think it was Toonami Voltrons. I got the vehicle and the cats versions. Super 7, I got it back here, but it's buried because it's in the box. I got the Stormtrooper, but I never got Boba Fett. And I've been on the hunt for a why can't I think of it all of a sudden? The Iron Giant. I've been on the hunt for the big Iron Giant for a while now, and I just don't know if that's ever going to happen. But I probably won't get the Super 7 Optimus. I like the toy look more than the animation look, and it has the animation look. I don't have anything against the animation look, but it's too clean for me. So I kind of didn't get that one. I talk about how we were going to do one for the movie. That's the one item out of all the years that didn't happen that I wanted to happen, because we couldn't figure out how to ship it in at the time. But we were going to do a Shogun 24-inch big plastic Optimus for the movie, which was really going to be one of my last big items as I moved, from day to day managing the design team to other stuff. Would have been cool. I collect old coloring books. I got Shogun Warriors coloring books and DC Heroes, G.I. Joe. They're funny to me. They're really funny. So when they made Armada coloring books, I thought that was doubly exciting. I think I got them right here. These things are ridiculous. The coloring books are great, whatever they are, but look at this. Come on. Gotta have two. Come on. Can't beat that. I got Dragoon hanging up over here. Yeah, man, there's art people haven't even seen. I mean, I don't know if I've seen that anywhere else but the back of these coloring books. And that is like huge gouache art. Sweet gouache art. I mean, you guys have been seeing my paintings. Anybody that pays attention to my Instagram anyway. So these have been a great resource. Just looking at something that big from back in the day. Kind of where I live. Oh my goodness. People also want to know where do you get your start? I'm telling you, Starlog magazine. This was gold. If you wanted to learn how they did that stuff back in the day, you had to get magazines like this. Magazines. And these pictures aren't color in there. This is like, you had to go, listen to me, old man Archer shakes his fist. But yeah, that just sounds great. Look at that. Yeah, you wanted to learn how they did that stuff? That's what you had to get a magazine and read it. Hope that you could put the dots together from the last thing you read, and eventually it'll all work out. Yeah, that's how they spelled it in Shogun Warriors, I guess, in the media anyway. So yeah, Raideen. Anyway, that's the kind of stuff. I'm a reference junkie. So all you guys at the toy shows always ask me I collect plenty of toys, but they're all for reference. They're all for inspiration, or they inspire me or whatever. Whatnot, but really I collect reference. So I like reference. Maybe that's something I'll pull out every one of these live streams, and we'll just show how some of this reference has found its way into some of the projects that maybe you guys know. Do you have any Soul of... I do. But I got to be honest with you, I'm a visual junkie, so I don't always get the names right. So let me look that up. Oh, no. No, just the... Ooh, yeah, no, that would be... I wish. I also wish I could collect Diaclone, but I could pretty much afford this. So that's almost the extent of my collection there. I do have one of the smaller robots. Anyway, oh yeah, I got a whole ton of Armada coloring books. I have an Armada like scrapbook. It's just empty pages. It's like a coloring book with nothing printed in it. I don't know where they sold that, but I found that one interesting. Yeah, no, I'm a 70s guy. I like 70s Japanese painting style. So like what was on like old Zoids boxes back in the day in Japan. The painted Gundam stuff. Any of that gouache style, I'm more of a junkie for than even the media that it's representing. If that makes sense. Generation 2, I don't think so. I think that was very opportunistic. Generation 2 with all the redecos and maybe some new items, but I think that was sometimes in the toy lines you can have success, and this definitely happened with G.I. Joe and Transformers. Slowly down, but on that downturn, you kind of make trade-offs, and some of those trade-offs are like, we're not going to do another season or things like that. Even though there might be business that keeps going, but it's not really going to drive much. And yeah, Generation 2 definitely started falling into that. where they're not killing the line, they're not totally telling you it's going away, but they're really not putting too much extra money into it to get money out of it. Um, they know the magic is changing. Daniel points the turtles a lot around that time, taking some eyeballs there, and it felt newer and more interesting. That always happens. Toys is like fashion. There's trends, and you're in one day and you fall out quick. Soon after. So, Ninjatron. Wow, they must have saved a lot of money not hiring any artists for G2 times, or yeah. That was probably a time where a lot of guys got redeployed to other teams. Yeah, probably GI Joe for a minute, and whatever else they tried to follow up with GI Joe. I have not seen Transformers Earthspark, but you're going to see in the overall discussions that we have that I'm not necessarily a fan of sitting around and watching the animated programs as much as I am the products and just the style and the look of the items. I like the upfront development of a show, and then once it became episodic, I didn't watch it or pay as much attention to it. So I think Earthspark seems interesting. I'm curious if it's really a G1 continuation. Did that actually happen? That was the kind of rumor going around. I don't really like Optimus's face, but yet I get it at the same time. So we'll see where it goes, I guess. Oh yeah, for the scrapbook interior pages. Yeah, they don't pay a lot anyway, I guess. But Michael, is there something from your Armada Energon toy design days that is now a lost art in today's toy design? There's a couple things actually. Not necessarily in Armada and Energon, but in the Legends of the Dark Knight, we did a couple Batman and a Robin and Clayface that had a technique called dual mold injection, which instead of having your mold have one opening that's firing hot plastic into the mold, sometimes there's two places where the plastic's inserted, and that's usually the same color, just to make sure you fill up the volume. Like any mold, you don't want any voids. But in this technique, you use two different colors in the hopper, and so when it hot wax or hot plastic was shot into the mold, it would swirl in a pattern kind of way. That's a bit of a technique that's not used as much because the way tools are made, they only have one port to put the plastic in often, and to do a setup for two is a different kind of setup that just modern factories aren't doing, I guess. And chrome becomes harder and harder to do. Diecast is going to become harder and harder to do. But is there something that lost art with today's toy design? Nothing overt, but clearly just I got the advantage of better plastics and things than what they're able to use now. That's just outside looking in. I don't know exactly what's happening there, but definitely could tell. With G.I. Joe exploding in popularity again, I'm going to keep thinking about that, Michael, because I know there are. I'll have to go through and think of them a little bit. G.I. Joe popularity again. What do you think the next nostalgic toy line? Well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm not sure I'm a total fan of the endless nostalgia cycle. Obviously, with Armada and things like that, I was willing to go in different directions. use the same ingredients in some ways, but they come out different and add new spices also. And so I'm not always a fan of the nostalgia play. If they do things like Mask, I don't know. You'd really have. I mean, you need the vehicle scale to make that work, and that's a whole tricky thing because that's almost like a transformer in itself. So you're looking at a higher price point right out the gate for something that's, nostalgic. So that'd be good. I think. I mean, if they did a really, really great Matt Tracker orange Transami Camaro thingy, whatever, with the gull wings. If they did a really nice one of those, that'd be cool. I guess it has lab or something, but you need the car and the guy and the mask. Okay, so not totally connected, but yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I love him. Uh, there's so many. I talk about going when we were doing the Covenant, not the Covenant, the Primus book, but the Vault book. We went to the room that they had all this old materials in, and they had the original gouache paintings for Diaclone and other stuff that was happening in the 70s around transforming robots that Tomy or Takara was doing. And those were really cool. Some of it was just kind of background stuff that would have been like behind the toy, like roadways and just side walls and stuff. But just those techniques and everything was really cool to see. Yeah, Transformers. I mean, the materials they're using is obviously a little different. The robustness they have to lock everything in is a little different. So it's just different. They're adjusting for just inflation. Yeah, thanks, Sandy. Yeah. So what are we doing here? Okay, I'm gonna keep going till 10:30. So we got about 15 more minutes. I'm gonna start this with an hour. We'll see. I can't. I want to have a more structured topic next time. Really just wanted to make sure people could hear me and I could follow this chat. And, you know, it made sense. So it seems like everything's working. What was my inspiration behind Night Force Ninja's Killer Croc? We needed a villain that could have one of those great features where you squeeze the legs or push a button and the arms move or something. And we got into this idea of a tail whip. So Killer Croc was just the natural type of character. He needed a tail. I didn't realize he didn't have a tail necessarily in the books. And I have a somewhat asterisk next to my contribution there because that was before Jim Lee gave him a tail in the mainline comic book. So I got a little something there I can feel good about. So yeah, we just needed a guy that could swipe at those Batman that were punching and kicking and stuff. So that's how he got a tail. I like the new Armada Hot Shot and Starscream. I think it's cool that they're redoing them. They're doing them under modern costing and feature needs, so that's cool. I like that they gave Starscream a sword. I wish it was still his wing, but the spirit's there. I like the Red Dragon. I like Hot Shot. I like Override. Looking forward to this Megatron Optimus. Armada Optimus looks pretty cool. So I'm eager to see where they all go. But I think it's pretty cool that they're doing them. They're great characters. They're fun, and they got their own generation of followers. So they were main players. So it's cool that those fans are getting their favorite characters again. So And I'll just humbly, somewhat relevant, I can point and say, "Oh, I made the first ones, and now ain't that nice?" So that part's exciting too. Gives me something to continue to talk about. Yeah, Jetpack Man '01. Yes, Unicron Trilogy toys, because they were feature based. We wanted them to stand really well, and you needed to manipulate those features, so you needed them to kind of be solid and not wobbly. So um, they are in fact more solid. Whereas when we did Transformers animated, the goal there was to get. I often talk about you want the opposite of what you did before. So if we were very straight and upright and feature based, animated gave you posability and more streamlined forms and more characteristic of the character coming through in those poses and shapes. That wasn't a goal in Armada's or Unicron trilogy, but absolutely was a goal in animated. So that is, you see exactly how it went down. Uh, yeah, am I still a toy designer? That's funny. Yes, I am. I do some independent toy stuff with some friends and some different people. I don't think I have it here. Uh, I'll show that next time. I did the Scoob toys for the Scooby Doo movie that came out a few years ago. Captain Caveman and Blue Falcon and all that. So me and a friend did that whole action figure line. Oh, there they are. The hot girls are finally here. um, yeah, so I do that, and I'm working with some other companies across the spectrum, really. Um, so yeah, I'm still in it, but it's all NDA and different elements of toy design. Sometimes I'm making toys, sometimes I'm just reading scripts and talking about the toys you can make. So I'm still in the game, uh, just not so much with Hasbro. Yeah, pots are the worst. Yeah. What do we got? Oh, all right. We're doing good. We're doing good. This seems somewhat natural. Although I'm not looking at the camera. I don't know where I'm supposed to look, so that's funny. Yeah. We got Minerva and nice. Yeah. Uh my favorite series out of Unicron. I'm gonna go with Armada, although the designs of Cybertron are probably more cool and elevated because I was still learning on Armada. And by the time we got to Cybertron, the powers of what I had learned and then what Eric could do, uh, I think that's a more superior design language anyway. Oh my goodness. I don't know about that. What toy would be my, magnum opus? I don't know if that one could be defined a couple different ways. I'm proud of some things, alternators and masterpiece, but those are what they are. Um, Armada Megatron might be up there. Red Dragon Megatron. I feel pretty good about that one. Um, yeah, G1 figures back in the day. We couldn't bring back Six Shot because of all the safety requirements. We did look at that one. Um, I don't recall if we looked at too many others. Yeah. Boy, Boy, there's a lot of questions real quick here at the end. Sorry. Um, yeah, if you don't have a cartoon that matches the toys or vice versa, it kind of doesn't work for the Enterprise most of the time, unless the toys just have some really unique feature that's never been seen before. But GoBot's products are as interesting as anything. Yeah, but the show didn't do them enough justice, that's for sure. But that is a whole discussion for another time, I'm sure. No, I don't have any characters in Armada I wish we could have done, but didn't. There's things looking back I think we should have done better. Maintain Jetfire a little bit better throughout the series, and where'd Red Alert go, things like that. But I'm not sure at the time all the things we would need to know. We were kind of learning as we went. Downshift's pretty good. That is an Eric Stephen design for sure. I did gnarly vehicles. Eric did the cars most of the time. I did a few, but yeah, reissue 6 shot would have been terrible. It would have just been orange. We would have probably had to come up with some sort of storyline where, it was part of the lava planet thing or lava bath or something. And it just, for a reissue of a old product to diehard fans, if it's not what they remember, why reissue it? There's a certain point where it just doesn't make any sense. All right, we're getting there. Well, let's see. I've had some people in here today, so that's nice. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep doing this on Fridays. I don't know if it'll start at 9:30 every week. I might start it at 10:30. Probably won't go too much later than that. I'll start with an hour, and we'll see if we need 2. And feel free to email me if you have any particular deep dive questions you think that you've always wanted to understand about manufacturing processes, decisions, combos of story, and working with different types of partners, whatever. I can long form any of it. I just don't know what's as interesting sometimes until people pull it out of me. Yeah. Well, Sunstreaker. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why we didn't do that one. No idea. And so if you guys have any of those topics or whatever, and or we can deep dive into any of it. I'll probably always show a little bit of reference, something that inspired a product or color scheme or something of one of the items, and that'll be fun. Or give a deep dive just a little into why the color choices were what they were on an item or whatnot. So that could be fun. But that's the type of thing I hope to do. Again, we'll keep doing long form where we'll cover the brands in full encyclopedic coverage. We have Armada Deep Dive 2 is out now, and we've talked about, we have an Alternators 2 lined up. We've talked about a Beyblade episode with me and another designer who was more responsible for that. I think that could be fun. And then I am probably going to do Night Force Ninjas live, but I really want to make sure that one gets promoted because we'll record it too in a different way. But I have all my presentation boards and reference boards and inputs and all of that for every bit of that line. So I can kind of explain how we sold in a segment and what it took at that time to sell in a segment. And the different things that I considered when we sold it in and then fell off as we made product for different, for different reasons. So that one, I think I kind of want to present live like I would have been doing to the president of the company back in the day. I just got to find the right date and situation to do that. That might be my pre-New Year's presentation or something. We'll see. Yeah, Chris, good seeing you. Hey, man, if you're around, we'll talk every Friday. All right. Deep dive question. During your time at Hasbro and Takara during the fundamental disagreements. That's a good question. Not fundamental. Never fundamental. I am a pretty good logic and reasonable person. So most of the time, if there were any fundamental disagreements, they weren't fundamental. They were kind of like, okay, you need more items or less items or more items in this quarter, or they were kind of like protecting one's business needs were the biggest worries. They weren't disagreements. It was like, okay, we got to make sure, in our market, Christmas is a big deal, Easter is a big deal, back to school is a big deal for launch of shows in September. So they have a different cycle in Japan. So we would just have to make sure that each of us got what we definitely needed for our marketing teams. And those were the worries. There weren't really fundamental disagreements, I would say. Some avoidance of bullet trains on our side and pickup trucks on their side, but I think that's understandable. No, I don't know much about the BotCon toys. They came and went so fast that I don't really have a good handle on them. Yeah, well, I can be diplomatic, yes. And that worked out well for me with the Japanese folks. We worked well together. Yeah, bullet trains. Chris, you can keep the bullet trains in your Sentai world. I bet that does well for them over there. Not so much in the transforming robot world. Anyway, hey, everybody, thanks for coming. Michael Coe, thank you. And Princeton Phalanx 59, thank you for the super chat questions there. And we'll see you all next Friday. And I'll say hey tomorrow on the chat, no doubt. So check out that. Check out the Toy Armada. Subscribe, tell your friends, all that good stuff. Thanks for coming. We'll see you guys.